The next day, Monsieur Morrel seemed as calm as ever, went into his office as usual, came to his breakfast punctually, and then, after dinner, he placed his daughter beside him, took her head in his arms, and held her for a long time against his bosom. In the evening, Julie told her mother that although he was apparently so calm, she had noticed that her father's heart beat violently. The next 2 days passed in much the same way. On the evening of the 4th of September, Monsieur Morrel asked his daughter for the key of his study. Julie trembled at this request, which seemed to her of bad omen. Why did her father ask for this key which she always kept, and which was only taken from her in childhood as a punishment? The young girl looked at Morrel. "What have I done wrong, father?" she said, "that you should take this key from me?" "Nothing, my dear," replied the unhappy man, the tears starting to his eyes at this simple question. "Nothing, only I want it." Julie made a pretense to feel for the key. "I must have left it in my room," she said. And she went out, but instead of going to her apartment, she hastened to consult Emmanuel. "Do not give this key to your father," said he, "and tomorrow morning, if possible, do not quit him for a moment." She questioned Emmanuel, but he knew nothing, or would not say what he knew. During the night between the 4th and 5th of September, Madame Morrel remained listening for every sound, and, until 3 o'clock in the morning, she heard her husband pacing the room with great agitation. It was 3 o'clock when he threw himself on the bed. The mother and daughter passed the night together. They had expected Maximilian since the previous evening. At 8 o'clock in the morning, Morrel entered their chamber. He was calm, but the agitation of the night was legible in his pale and careworn visage. They did not dare to ask him how he had slept. Morrel was kinder to his wife, more affectionate to his daughter than he had ever been. He could not cease gazing at and kissing the sweet girl. Julie, mindful of Emmanuel's request, was following her father when he quitted the room, but he said to her quickly, "Remain with your mother, dearest." Julie wished to accompany him. "I wish you to do so," said he. Oh, man. This chapter is making me do mouth sounds, and I'm so sorry, folks. Morrel is in a bad place. Okay. Use your words, Landon, for Christ's sake. Dumas is putting us through it, too. We know Dante is going to come through, right? So Dumas is creating this suspense through tragedy. My God, this is heart-wrenching. It's these little details that are getting me, man. Morrel is entering in this morning to have his breakfast, as he always does, same time, same place, seems calm. Calm is sometimes a very scary thing. And he can't stop looking at his daughter and his wife. He can't stop holding his daughter. And there's this line here. He held her for a long time against his bosom. ... Julie had noticed that her father's heart beat violently. So he seems calm, but his heart is racing, and he can't stop holding on to his daughter and gazing on his wife. This is the behavior of someone becoming resolute in a decision. Man. And everyone is worried. Emmanuel is telling Julie, "Don't let him out of your sight." Julie is trying not to let him out of her sight. He's asking for her key, the key that opens his office, and this was worrying as well. Why did her father ask for this key, which she always kept, and which is only taken from her in childhood as a punishment? So he knows what this key means to her, but he also knows what asking for it back means. If this isn't a punishment to her, then it creates a confusion, and it's setting up something I don't have the strength to utter the words to yet. Boy, oh boy. Dumas creating... This isn't even really suspense. This is just anxiety. And kind of desperation by proxy. I mean, the empathy that, okay, this would be overwrought, I feel like, if Dumas was writing this from the perspective of Morrel. And I've mentioned this a couple times over the last chapter or two. What seems to be really unique about Dumas is that he always tends to write these things, like his choice to write something through the perspective of the character experiencing it or through the perspective of the people around the person that the action is about. So, we've been talking about Dante and how Dumas has been keeping him at a arm's length as he talks to Caderousse, as he talks to Morrel, the prison inspector. Like, we haven't been in Dante's shoes in a long time. The beginning of this, or like chapter 29, we were kind of in Morel's perspective, and now that we have all the context for what Morrel is going through, suddenly Dumas steps out of Morrel and goes into the perspectives of the people around him so that we can witness what's happening. Because if we were in Morel's head in this moment, it would be overwrought, as I said. It would just be really, really hard to take dark, depressing thoughts. And not that you can't do that in a book. I'm thinking of a book I read a couple years ago called A Little Life. I know that the book is kind of controversial. A lot of the criticism hurled at it is about tragedy porn. But I think what that book does, and what this story is doing, at least in this moment, is distancing us from being in the mindset of the person experiencing the tragedy. I mean, not to downplay the tragedy that his family has to watch him go through, because that's a different kind of, experience. But, like, we aren't experiencing the spiraling thoughts that he has. We are only seeing the behavior of it. And that, in and of itself, is hard to experience. Anyway, I don't want to say this, but join me here tomorrow as we barrel further into chapter 30. We're not even halfway through, folks. Oh my God, where is this going to go? Okay, until tomorrow, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.